Well, how are we today, folks?
We are doing well, since I'm the only other one that can answer.
Okay. It is NFL Week 1 talk on our podcast. This is Gridiron 360. I am Bill. With me today is Mr. Dave. Say hi, Dave.
Hello, folks.
Yes. So I was saying to Dave earlier, it's funny how my college team started off week 1 of the college season with the first big Thursday night game, and now your NFL team gets to start off week one of the NFL season with a Thursday night game today. And
I'm excited. Got the mighty monsters of the Midway going up against the Green and Mold up there in Swiss cheese country.
nice.
So I am pumped. It's a big year for the Bears. High expectations against the longest standing rivalry in the NFL. So it's a great way to start the season. I know most people are used to the Super Bowl champs getting that first game matchup.
Yeah, that's right.
But given the 100 years and the Bears starting the NFL, being the 100th anniversary of not only the NFL but the team as well, it's big stuff, and obviously going against one of the biggest rivalries in all of pro football.
Sure. It should be exciting. A lot of, really, right out the gates, a lot of implications as to how each team's going to do. They are divisional rivals on top of being longtime rivals. So this game, obviously, one of two they'll play. And we're going to run down the slate of games, starting with tonight's game on Thursday and then run through the Sunday. And then we have two on Monday night. So let's dive right in. So we have the Packers. Actually, it's in Chicago, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I thought you said Swiss cheese country.
Well, that's where they're from.
Oh, okay.
What else are they known for?
I know. Okay, so 8:20 tonight, NBC. The Packers travel to the Bears. Right now, from what I see, the line is about 3. The Bears giving 3 points to the Pack.
Which pretty much puts it at a pick'em on a neutral site, which, not that the NFL plays a ton of neutral site games unless they're playing in Mexico or in
Canada.
Jolly Old.
Yeah. We have an over-under right now. Looks about 46.5. So let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about the game script. It's your team, so I'll let you start out and tell me some things you're excited about, and then let's talk about the game script and what to watch for.
Well, just to kind of give everybody a look, as we've talked about in previous, talking about fantasy as well, but just in the NFL, there's been a shift in the preseason in the idea of playing the starters throughout the preseason. And, while the Packers obviously have Aaron Rodgers, who will be the tip of the sword for them and will be certainly the most impactful player out there. I don't think anybody's going to be shocked by that revelation. They are bringing in a new head coach in Matt LaFleur. And he's a young guy, comes out of the Sean McVay pipeline, was the offensive coordinator for Tennessee. And, there was expectations to play Rodgers in week 3, but they had the debacle in Canada against the Raiders with the field issues and played on an 80-yard field. So we've not seen anything from them and the new look offense. We're going to talk about whether that's actually going to be a new look. And then you got the Bears and Nagy, with the exception of the first probably 3 series in game 1, played no starters.
None.
No key players, no starters.
So he is definitely somebody that he's not into getting his starters hurt for any reason whatsoever.
I have to say I completely agree with him in this. You've got a team that brought back 10 starters of the 11 on defense. That'll be something I'll touch on a little bit, the one starter not back. There's a little bit of a switch there between Green Bay and Chicago. And you've got obviously an offense that has added a few new toys, but for the most part, the line remains intact, the receiving core, as far as the starters are there. So, there's not as much mystery. The big talk offensively for the Bears is the fact that they are looking for their quarterback, who is really a wild card in the national media. Bears fans are, I think, a lot more comfortable with him getting his second year in Nagy's offense and seeing if that second year creates that monster step forward. They definitely got some weapons for him to work with. And then, obviously to see how this all plays out. What we do know is, these games are tough games. Rodgers, I believe, if I've got the stats right, is 17-5 against the Bears. So they come to town with a lot of confidence in the right places. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot to unfold with this, but it should be a battle. We'll just kind of do a quick recap of last year. Game 1 was played in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Mack without a preseason was absolutely wrecking ball. He was really a wrecking ball throughout the game. But certainly the first half, the Bears came out and punched Green Bay in the mouth. Rodgers goes down with a knee injury. In comes Kaiser. Khalil Mack's stat line was all world. I believe he had 2 sacks, forced fumble, had an interception for a touchdown, and all in all was the hellion that you will probably see again this year.
Yeah, I mean, like Mac hit the cycle, so to speak, for a defender. Like he did everything.
Yeah, he is just an animal. Then Rodgers with
hobbled comes back in hobbled, and then what happens, Mr. Dave?
Fake injury, and he did his classic dropping dimes all over that defense, and they ended up coming back and winning 21-20 in that game. So it kind of fits the line. Fits the over-under for this year. Expectations are not much different. There's a split on whether the Bears were a one-year wonder in the national media or whether they are a team set to dominate. And then there is this just belief that Rodgers is going to do Rodgers things. So that's about as big as a setup as you can get for a game. Now let's talk about what we think we're going to see. You got any thoughts on the Packers? Let's start with them coming in.
Well, one, you kind of touched on the line at 3, the Bears giving 3. I see why that is. It's Vegas is incredible. I believe it will be something right around there. But I think, and the over-under, what I say, 46.5. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, maybe a 27-23, something like that. But I'm actually going to go on the Packers side, my friend. I'm sorry about that, but you said it. I mean, the bottom line is this. He's healthy, okay? We've got a new system. We don't know how that's going to play out under LaFleur with the Packers, but Aaron Rodgers is healthy, and this is supposed to be a step up in terms of helping him with his passing game, getting the ball around the field, which he's already good at doing. So it'll play right into what he's best at. So I think he's going to have a day. I think Devontae Adams is going to have a day. I think that Aaron Jones may snap something off, but I think he might be held in check for the most part, the running back from Green Bay. I'm interested to see if they work Jimmy Graham into the equation. I think the guy's still just done in his career, but we'll see. But I think it's going to be an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams day. God, I hope so, because I have Devontae Adams in several of my leagues. Lots of shares of Devontae Adams. That said, why don't you talk a little bit about the Bears? Because I think that the talk of David Montgomery that you've had in the past, I am excited to see how they work him in. And I do think the Bears defense is going to do the Bears defense type things. I think Khalil Mack, again, will be all over the place. But my prediction is a 27-23 Packers-Bears victory.
All right. Okay. I mean, if I'm being an honest fan, I can't say that is unreasonable. History is definitely on the side of the Packers and on the side of Aaron Rodgers. Here's what I see. Okay, so there's some changes that have happened with this. I think what I want to see out of the Packers, and to tell me what's going on, I do believe that the LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers, some talk of them not being on the same page through preseason is overblown. I mean, just like us, there's a lot to talk about in the offseason, and most of it doesn't have a lot of value. You get into Helmetgate, who's not getting their contracts. That all ends tonight. It's time to get out, strap on the helmet, and get at it. I will say this. I've done a little looking into regression. There's been a lot of talk. The Bears defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, has headed on to Denver. He is a tremendous, tremendous defensive coach. I wish him the best out there in Denver and hope he can do good things with their team because he's a great coach. The players loved him. In comes Chuck Pagano, typically known to be a more aggressive play caller. Fangio is not about bringing as much pressure. I'm not so certain we're going to see a massive difference there. Any team that can bring pressure with four guys and get to the quarterback quickly is going to have success. That is the way to beat Rodgers. So I think it's set up right now for the Bears to be able to take care of business on defense. I don't see Aaron Jones getting off today. I mean, the Bears had the number one rush defense in the NFL. Their front seven. And now, mind you, you've got last year, they won the second game, but just talking about the front seven, Akeem Hicks is highly underrated. First year making the Pro Bowl last year, deservedly so. In a 3-4 defense, sometimes you can, he got put in the DN category, which was a little bit unfair, which he plays in the 3-4, but he is more of an interior lineman. The guy gets after it with sacks. Khalil Mack is otherworldly. I mean, he just is. Statistically, he was very good last year, and I think we're just scratching the surface with this guy. So the question is, can they get off the edge on the other side of the ball? The Bears have been waiting for Leonard Floyd to become worthy of that first-round pick that they took him in. This is the
Roquan.
And that was where I was going next is Danny Trevathan is almost an afterthought on this defense because you got Roquan patrolling the middle. Remember, he missed all of camp last year, and he came in and was phenomenal. Kid had 5 sacks and didn't start as much, but played obviously a ton of downs, had a ton of tackles, rangy, sideline to sideline, can patrol the middle, and given his size, which is the new look size of middle linebackers in football, this kid's a player. So keeping Rodgers on the run, the worst thing in my mind you can do is over blitz him because he clearly knows how to beat the blitz. He's proven it year after year. So I see this defense in containment mode, but I also realize Rodgers doesn't need the running game. He hasn't always needed the running game. He owns the Bears for the most part, certainly in the last 6-7 years. So this is going to be kind of a game where what I'm looking for is actually going away from the offense of the Packers and the defense of the Bears. This game's going to be won between the Bears offense and the Packers defense. That's what this game is all about. It's not the game. It's not what we're all going to talk about because that's not where the superstars are.
The game within the game.
Absolutely. The Packers have made a lot of moves. They've drafted heavily on defense the last couple of years, particularly in the secondary.
That's where I know they have LaFleur, but all the media that I've seen coming out of Packers camp is the defense is going to be better.
Yeah, and I look at it and I go, okay, you had Nick Perry who never really amounted to much coming off the edge. They lost Clay Matthews. Now, mind you, Clay Matthews is.
I think that he's.
It's a little understated. They let him walk.
Yeah,
so
I think he's
fair.
had his time.
But I guess my question is, they let Mike Daniels walk. Mike Daniels went on to the Detroit Lions. I haven't seen anything in the front seven that gets me that excited. Usually when you let those players walk, you've got somebody coming in with high expectation. They're going to go with the system. Their defensive coordinator is solid. I always say his name wrong. Mike Pettin.
Mike Pettin.
I say it wrong. So I think they're going to have their hands full, and it's going to be because of one guy.
I got you, Mr. Mack.
Well, no, that's on defense, not Mack.
Oh, on offense.
On offense for the Bears.
Here you go.
So.
And who is that? Like, why are you leaving him hanging?
So we're talking about David Montgomery. Now, I'm going to give you a newsflash. I don't think he's going to start the game. I think Mike Davis is going to come in. Bears may be a little bit vanilla, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him play. I want to talk about this kid just briefly. But what told me the most was in that first game, the idea was, let's see what this Montgomery kid can do. Okay, and you would expect a rookie running back coming into a new offense, especially one that's pretty dynamic in the way the Bears run, much like an Andy Reid type offense, spread the ball around. He played 3 series in game 1. Didn't start the first series. Came in, I believe, in the second quarter. I don't think it was the second series. It might have been. Actually, it was the second series. Came in the second series, played 3 series. The kid never saw the field again through the rest of preseason. You can look at articles. They are in love with this kid. Understand where I think he is extremely valuable. He adds a passing dimension to the game. The problem was you couldn't, as versatile as Tariq Cohen is, and just be aware he's going to be a monster and he's going to be on the field. I expect him on the field with Montgomery on several plays, but he couldn't run under center and run from the eye as much. You got to be careful. He is a smaller guy, a little bit more like a Darren Sproles. I think can play a little on the regular a little bit more, but now what they're going to be able to do is run and throw in the backfield. This kid is elusive. He broke more tackles than anyone else in college football. He is a guy I am extremely high on, and then I'm going to be done after this week, and I'm just going to let his performance do the talking. But I believe in that. What'll be interesting is Trey Burton, which this is a tight end important scheme, is got a groin injury, which popped up in the middle of this week, apparently, at least according to what they're bringing out. And he was off and he had an off-season surgery for a sports hernia. They're saying the injuries are unrelated to each other. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out because the Bears are suspect at the tight end position. So I'm interested to see, what kind of game plan they bring at them. And the question is, again, remember something, Mitch Trubisky is no slouch of a runner. So can this front 7 contain them? And I look for Trubisky to take the next step. Now, I'm not telling you, he's got some tough competition coming out in his draft class between Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And those are going to be lofty shoes. He may never fill them, and I don't know that he really needs to, especially with the defense they have. But I think the Packers are going to have trouble with the Bears offense. And it's in Chicago. The Bears took him down. Trubisky had a very good game in Chicago against Green Bay last year, which Rodgers did play, threw for 2 touchdowns, and they beat the Packers. So
give us a prediction.
I've got the Bears winning 27-14. I think they're going to
covering the spread.
I think they're more than going to cover.
So those of you that were following along there, the Bears cover the 3 they're giving to Green Bay, but do not the game does not hit the over-under of 46.5 with your score.
Correct.
Okay.
So I obviously had a lot to dig into that one, but I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think what all NFL fans should be excited for, this is the first time that I can remember where so many good starting games starting the year, and the primetime games this week are definitely must watch.
Sure.
So this leads us
This
off.
was one of when we had hit the other day when we were talking some fantasy, we hit 3 big games. One of them was this one. The other one was the Houston-New Orleans game, and then the other one was Atlanta-Minnesota. So this is the first one. This is the big one. Maybe not the big one, but the first big one. All right. We are going to dive into the Sunday games next.
All right.